This podcast is supported by FX's English teacher. Last year's critically acclaimed series returns to follow Evan, Gwen, and Marky as they vie for their students' divided attention. See why Cosmopolitan called its premiere season a masterclass of comedy, while Glamour raved it's the year's funniest and most heartwarming new comedy series. FX's English teacher returns September 25th on FX. All episodes streaming on Hulu.
If you thought goldenly breaded McDonald's chicken couldn't get more golden, think Golder, because new sweet and smoky special edition gold sauce is here. Made for your chicken favorites at participating McDonald's for a limited time.
Tonight, turn down the noise of the day and focus on the rest with AGZ, the nightly drink for winding down and resting up. New from AG1. AGZ supports your body's natural sleep cycle with clinically studied key herbs, adaptogens, and minerals in amounts supported by research. And no melatonin, helping you wake feeling rested. Wind down, rest up with AGZ. Learn more at drinkagz.com.
No matter what generation you fall into, everyone has an anthology series or movie they can remember. From the Twilight Zone to Creepshow, they are iconic. But can one anthology movie, hosted by an iconic figure of modern pop culture, put the izzle in sizzle or fizzle? Find out as we attempt to see if Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror is not that bad. Welcome, one and all, to It's Not That Bad, the podcast that looks for A grades in B movies. Hello to all of our listeners in Nogales, Mexico, and around the world. How the heck are you guys doing? All right, we have come to the end of our little mini, completely impromptu Spooktember celebration. Don't worry, things are going to get scarier in October, because that's Mocktober. But things have been actually pretty fun this month. But we're going to end with one that might either put the N to the fun or put the F in the fun, if you know what I'm talking about. We're talking about, and I can't believe we're talking about, Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror. And here to join me, the izzle to my nizzle, my lovely wife, Carrie. Carrie, how are you doing?
I'm doing awesome, fo shizzle.
Happy
to be here.
Please let this be the end of our izzling through the rest of the show. I think I can get through the rest of the show without izzling another izzle.
No drizzle.
No drizzle. Dear God. You come for the dad jokes and the bad jokes. I don't know why you, our dear listeners, keep on showing up week after week, but I am so grateful that you do. So, obviously, we picked this film this week because on Monday, we recently covered on Keep Watch Pass movies starring Danny Trejo. This is one of those films starring Danny Trejo. Now, to give you a little background on the information of that podcast, if you have not listened to that episode, we recorded that episode before we watched Hood of Horror. Keep in mind, this is going to come. We're going to put a little pin in that little nugget of background information. But Carrie, when I said to you, Hood of Horror, hosted by Snoop Dogg, you stayed in the room. You watched the movie. You didn't run away. Why?
More on that later, but it was definitely an adventure. It was something.
It was something. The fact that this movie even exists is something. Because, I mean, how do you pitch to someone, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a horror movie anthology. Great, I'm in. And it's going to focus on like urban themes and like all in LA. All right, I'm in. And it's going to be hosted by Snoop Dogg. What?
No, you know what? I think that actually that gives it some street cred.
Yeah.
I don't think any other artist could have pulled it off.
Oh, God, no.
This had to have
Like
Snoop Dogg attached.
You're not getting 50 Cent's Hood of Horror. No. No. All of that being said, all of his movies seem to be a horror anyways to begin with, so why not? All right. For our final dip into Spooktember, we got a fun one. But before we dive into it, it is time to take Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror and trailerize it.
Behold, the recipe to fuel your worst nightmares. Mix 3 short stories. A delicate blend of Playboy stars, models, wrestlers, athletes, and actors. Top it off with a Hitchcockian presence of the D-O-double-G. And you get, well, something. Snoop Dogg goes from Crypt Keeper to Crypt Keeper in Hood of Horror. Witness the nightmare of Danny Trejo going full demon, even though you're not supposed to go full demon. Witness Anson Mount going full boss hog. And witness Pooch Hall going full Yee. In 3 strange stories that will have you cheering when the main character gets killed and ends the misery of what you're watching. It's a movie that's less morals than more ass, with more ass than you really want. If the streets are tough, the video bargain bin is downright scary. Welcome to Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror. Rated R for rejects from the crypt.
Oh, come on. I'm disappointed you didn't rap.
I am saving, every now and then, and listeners, longtime listeners of the show, know that there is an ever-present danger that one of us is going to break out in song. Usually it's me. And I have to apologize thereafter, but yet people keep coming back. I guarantee you it's not because of the quality of my singing. If I tried to rap, really, it'd be like on one of those try not to laugh challenge videos on YouTube, but B, what viewers or listeners that we have left will run for the hills. Thinking about the most metal guy you know, and you get them to rap. And then you ask yourself, honestly, how did that go? Like, I listened to Winger back in the day, unapologetically. Kip Winger rapped on an album. I mean, I guess I could do worse. I could have done a Kip Winger. But still, no. Didn't rap.
Just not happening.
What is happening is we're getting into who is in this movie. The movie stars. Now, there are a lot of people in this film. So here's a list of the main stars and names you probably know. And this is the most rando list of people starring in a film that you could possibly think of. Obviously starring Snoop Dogg, but also starring Tayshaun Prince, Daniela Alonso, Danny Trejo, Teo Johnson, the one and only Billy D. Williams, Anson Mount, Brandy Roderick, Ernie Hudson, Richard Gant, Tucker Smallwood, Sidney Tamilia Poitier, Pooch Hall, Ari Spears, Diamond Dallas Page, Jason Alexander, Lin Shaye, Method Man, and Lamar Odom. Like, you have the NFL covered in here. You have NBA covered in here. You have Playboy covered in here. You have the Ghostbusters covered in here. You have the most random people ever assembled.
And Danny Trejo.
Oh, and the WWE, Diamond Dallas Page. What? They're so... Not even in your drunkest stupor could you come up with a cast this, and I'm going to put in quotation fingers, diverse.
Okay, but it was clearly a who's who. And
Is it a who's who or who's available?
It feels like one of those projects that, maybe pitched by Snoop Dogg and everyone's like, yeah, man, I'm in. I'm on board. I mean, I want a part of that.
It's probably you're not far off the bat. If someone said to you, hey, man, you want to be in an anthology movie called Hood of Horror? Most people say, hell's no. Someone comes to you and says, hey, yo, man, you want to be in an anthology movie called Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror? Snoop Dogg, I'm in. I'm in.
It's that talent factor. It's like everyone, you work with your friends, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be a part of it.
And there's something about Snoop Dogg. Like, don't get me wrong, right? Snoop Dogg is fantastic at what he does. How does Snoop Dogg give off like straight cool dad vibes? Because he does. Maybe not in this movie, but in real life, whenever he's out there, he gives off cool dad vibes.
I would love to meet him. I would love to sit and chat with Snoop Dogg and just find out how he is as a person, because he seems super cool.
He does. He seems like
super chill.
I was going to say, he seems like the most chill, down to earth guy. Like even his rap persona is ridiculously just mellow.
I love his dedication to his wife, though.
Yeah.
They've been together forever, and he treats her like his queen.
Honestly, find you someone that can find something negative to say about Snoop Dogg, and you found someone who's lying through their teeth. But let's get back to who and what is in this movie. It was directed by Stacy Title, had a budget of $5 million. Worldwide, it grossed $25,900, and it made it all domestically in one weekend.
Oh, no.
On the May 4th, 2007 weekend, it debuted at number 56. Now, in the past, we've talked about a few films that were just debuting in just one theater, right? One theater. This debuted in 117 theaters, meaning that this film averaged only $221 per theater.
Oh, come on. Really?
Really?
Oh.
I mean, obviously, the box office was dominated by one film, because debuting that weekend was Spider-Man 3 at number 1 with $151 million. Also debuting that weekend, a movie called Lucky You, which starred Eric Bana and Drew Barrymore, debuted at number 6 with $2.7 million. And Waitress, starring Kerry Russell, made $92,034, which really, it's not that far off from Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror. But there's an asterisk here. As I mentioned, Hood of Horror debuted in 117 theaters for an average of $221 per building. Waitress debuted in 4 theaters and still made $92,034 total that weekend. But the reason why we are here, and not just because it's our final weekend, we gotta start or end strong with Spooktember, are the critics. Over at Rotten Tomatoes, this film has a tomatometer of 13%. I mean, lucky number 13? Feels like they kind of hedged the numbers just to get to 13. So maybe. But the popcorn meter sits at 36%. At Letterboxd, it sits at 2.3 stars out of 5 for a 46% score. At IMDb, it has a 41% score, and at the movie database, it's at 48%, giving this film the aggravated aggregate of 36.8. The mission statement of our podcast is to say that it's not that bad. And when we're picking our movies, we generally use the Rotten Tomatoes critic score because, fans can go one way or the other. The general movie audience can go one way or the other. Critics are usually full of crap. So that's kind of our usual gauge. Is this movie better than the critic score? So, Carrie, I ask you, before we even get into this, Is this movie better than that 13% tomatometer?
I think yes. I mean, not that much more, but I didn't hate it. I know that's a ringing endorsement. I can't say
I'm trying to figure if you put quotation marks around it or a question mark after it or both.
I can't say that I would watch this again, but I love the concept. I love it so much. I mean, I grew up watching the Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
How would you even put it? It's kind of like a serial. Like,
the TV series?
The TV series.
That has nothing to do with Jason Voorhees whatsoever?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But a collection of
horror movies or horror stories, yeah.
Yeah, short, like, thriller. Like, I won't even say they're not even horror based. Just short thrill,
like
horrific stories.
Slightly slashier Goosebumps.
Yeah, exactly.
Also slightly slashier Goosebumps. Who would have thunk? I mean, I remember watching Creepshow 2, and one of the stories in Creepshow 2 I thought was like the coolest thing. You know, Tales from the Crypt exists.
Exactly.
Right? You do have these anthologies in science fiction. I was done this for years, right? Twilight Zone, The Outer Limits, Electric Dreams. Love Electric Dreams. I had so much fun. But I mean, a lot of these are, even the Hitchhiker TV series that was on the movie networks, you know, it was an anthology series, very much in that Alfred Hitchcock presents kind of manner, right? To the same token as you have novels that are just collections of short stories, all in and around a same theme. And I love those kind of books. You know, admittedly, sometimes the production value on an anthology series can look a little less than expensive, but that doesn't take away from the short story format. You're getting more movie, really, in one film.
I think there's something to be said as well for attention span.
Mm-hmm.
The shorter the story, the more you're able to, like, okay, you've watched it, you can accept it and move on to the next.
It's more concise storytelling. Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, take a look at some of the series that we have watched in the past, right? And you're like, this series went on too long. You could have dropped about 2 or 3 episodes and it wouldn't have affected the story at all. I mean, more often than not, people point to the British way of doing TV series and saying shorter is better. You don't need 24 episodes in a season for episodic style case of the week storytelling. You don't.
Vitamin Water Zero Sugar has great taste, zero BS, and obviously zero sugar. For those with zero room in their calendar, zero patience for slow walkers, those who get 0 hours of sleep on a Saturday night, have zero filter, zero given, and zero interest in grabbing a plain, boring water. Grab a delicious Vitamin Water Zero Sugar today.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst, healthcare pros, word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
The Hilton sale is on. For 10 days only, you can save up to 20% on stays this fall and beyond. Don't wait. The sale ends September 29th. Book your stay and save at Hilton.com. Terms apply. Hilton, for the stay.
But in the tradition of when we do an anthology film, something like we've done with both Movie 43 and Creepshow 3, we're going to be dealing with this story by story. And we're going to start right off the beginning because there's this animated intro off the top that kind of introduces how Snoop Dogg becomes our Alfred Hitchcock-like narrator. Your thoughts on this animated intro?
I remember saying this not too long ago on a different show that I miss the animated opening
on
to
our
movies.
Rockula episode. Yes.
That's right. Because you know what? You get like the key points of the story in a quick, concise, enjoyable to watch, right? Because it's it's the opening credits, but it's also almost like an appetizer. Or, when you go to the drive-in, that kind of like let's all go to the lobby. That little like animated
intermission.
Opening.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it. And I mean, I liked it. Yes. Was it hard to watch? Hell yeah. His backstory of, dare I say, spoilers? He killed his own sister.
Spoilers like you're supposed to say spoilers like a mofo.
Well, you did.
No, I said after you said it.
Oh.
Dear listeners, we are sorry for the pain that Carrie's premature spoiler has inflicted upon you.
I saved you, friends. I saved you from watching.
Oh, so you're not even going to cushion him. You're going to be like, screw you, we're raw dogging this. Let me tell you what happened.
Yeah.
Forget the lube, we're going in. Coming in hot. Get ready. Here's the synopsis. Go.
I just saved, the 213 viewers from the
synopsis right up your yoo-hoo. Let's go.
Oh my God.
Woo. That's where it went. Yeah, right in your whoo. Okay, to give you an idea of the animation style, it was actually put together by Madhouse Studios. They're known for, and this is just a very small snippet of some of the things that they have done, because their works is a very, very long list. But shows like Marvel Future Avengers, which you can actually watch on Disney Plus, One Punch Man, the opening sequence to Persona 4 Golden, the 2007 Devil May Cry anime series. I loved this animation style. I loved the look and the feel it gave. It's almost like if Spawn, the animated series, was a music video. I loved this style.
It kind of felt like the Marvel What If series.
Yeah, a little bit, but more of an anime style. Like if one of the studios behind Star Wars Visions decided, yeah, we're going to Marvel all over the place. Yeah, this is kind of what it felt like, but it set a hard tone right off the bat. But I was like, I'm down with this. Like, to the point where I'm sitting there going, I'm hoping that the whole movie is like this.
I found myself wondering if the whole movie was animated, which it is not.
It is not. It is not. But no, it's one of those things where stylistically, they hook you right off the bat and they pull you in, right? Because really, Snoop Dogg is the main character in very much a kind of Rod Sterling, Twilight Zone kind of style where he'll come in. It's like, imagine if you will, like that's what you're getting out of Snoop Dogg in his very Snoop Doggian kind of delivery that you know exactly what to expect because it's freaking Snoop Dogg. It doesn't try to be anybody else. But that whole opening animated sequence hits hard. Like this movie comes in hot. And I think it actually, I don't want to spoil, but I feel like the opening animation oversold the film. Because off the bat, I'm like, this is awesome. And then you get to the rest of it, it's like, oh, yeah. And you kind of want more of that. I wanted more of that animation. And you got a little bit of it at the end. So it bookends nicely. Madhouse Studios, you guys killed it.
I think it would have been a nice little intermission to keep going back to.
You know what?
To tie the stories together, maybe? Or
yeah, because they would go back to Snoop Dogg on camera in real life to put together these sort of bridge pieces to kind of intro the next story. Had they done that in animation style? I mean, I don't know if it's a budget thing, because let me tell you, the Snoop Dogg interstitials didn't look expensive. They didn't. But That animation style, I think, would have been kind of cool. But then how do you go from the live action? I mean, it's been done, right? You can just like freeze frame and then blend that freeze frame, that single frame into that animation style. And then, I mean, it's been done before. It's absolutely been done before. So why not? Because it was off the bat, be impressed. But then we get to the first story, which is crossed out. Now, this one stars Daniela Alonso as Posey, who is a graffiti tagger, Teo Johnson, who plays Strico, and Noel Guglielmi, who plays Fat Cat. They are rival taggers, rival graffiti artists. You also have Billy D. Williams, who plays Pastor Charlie, and Danny Trejo is listed as, quote unquote, the derelict. Your thoughts on this story?
I found myself looking most forward to Danny Trejo, as this was what drew us to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, when I saw him, I was like, oh, where is this going? Because he was just so, like, he helped Posey up onto the roof and then looked like he was going to club her and kill her. Yeah. And of course he is in it like full, almost like a demon-esque kind of makeup. Like, was he a demon? Was he a zombie?
No, definitely not a zombie. More so a demon.
A demon. Okay. So you can picture, like, this is not regular Danny Trejo with the $1 million smile. This is like, this is a scary Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
Where the whole time, like, I'm like, is he good? Is he bad? Is he like, is he there to kill her? I don't know.
Can it be all of the above? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it can.
I found it really hard to watch because it was really street. Like, there were some points where, you know, bad things really happened to a lot of the characters, and then some just over the top ridiculousness, like the dude falling on the bottle.
And the bottle then going through his head.
Yeah.
Which I don't know about physics, but okay.
And then
movie, go on with your dirty self.
Right. Proceeding to, like, I don't know.
Like with
fizzle with
the Mentos explosion out of his head like it's a high school volcano project. But
yeah.
Get the baking soda.
It was a mix of, you know, hard to watch like gang violence, and then hard to watch because it was just so ridiculously over the top, like trying to find humor in the situation. I don't know, like the humorous kills.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of the problem with horror movies, is that you get some films, and in some cases you're looking at the quality and the finesse of the kills. I mean, we've talked about this before with Friday the 13th, right? You want the kills to kind of one up everything that they did in previous films, right? You don't want the same old man with machete must cut. No, you want the creative executionings of the people who don't obey the rules of surviving a horror film. Here, I think the kills were a little over the top. But as far as the storyline goes, we all know that there's nothing original in Hollywood. Get that. Watching this, it felt like graffiti-based Death Note. And we've talked about the actual Netflix adaptation of the Death Note anime series on this show before. And I love the story behind Death Note, where you basically, this guy gets this book and he puts a name in the book, and that person is then going to die. And he actually describes exactly how the death is going to happen. So whatever you write in this book, the fate is going to befall the person that you put in the book. This is kind of the same theory in a graffiti, urban, street, gang violence kind of way. Teo Johnson and Noel Guglielmi, and I apologize if I messed up any names. You know me. I'm an idiot in a basement. with a microphone. I found their portrayal of these, for lack of a better term, gangbangers, just so over the top, basic, by the book kind of thing. At least the characterizations of the two.
But I think that was maybe part of it, is you wanted them to be like the quintessential, like, baddies.
Yeah. I mean, this is a short story in essence. We have no time for nuance in these characters. I mean, we get a little bit of it with Strico, but nothing crazy. Daniela Alonso, though, as Posey, I liked her presence on the screen. I liked what she brought to it. I liked this almost rebel graffiti artist who wanted to, it was almost like a glass ceiling kind of thing, right? These guys were basically, claiming these walls as their graffiti turf, and she was trying to shatter that spray painted glass ceiling. And then, of course, you get Danny Trejo, who his motivations aren't necessarily known, right? But he gives her this power to be able to X out the names on the walls that they've been graffitied on, and then something bad is going to happen to them, which is where you get that Death Note analogy.
See, that's the part I struggled with, is like, I thought that was the assignment, that she cleans up the streets by crossing out
the names,
the gang members.
Right. But the thing is that Trejo's character never explains to her, at least it's kind of, if he does, it's so lost in everything, in that his motivations for giving her this power aren't clear.
But then he takes it away, and he's like,
because she tags a wall, a good clean wall with her name on it to mark her turf.
Oh, that she was abusing the power.
Exactly. She eliminated everyone who was, in her way, or at least taking up wall space. And then she does and that's the thing. Apparently Danny Trejo's character doesn't want this, but it's never really stated. Like, don't create a moral dilemma if you're not going to mention the consequences.
Yeah, it didn't end well, though.
No, it did not. No, it did not. But at least the storyline gave us this really cool visual of her, like, putting this X around on the person's name, and because it's a very thick red blood-like type spray paint, you get an interesting visual from it. But I feel that's more style over substance. I like Daniela Alonso's performance in it.
Yes.
And Danny Trejo, not so much, actually.
I don't think it's his fault, though.
No. It's not his fault.
I don't think his motivation was flushed out.
No. And then you got Billy D. Williams, who's the pastor, who's constantly consoling these people whose children have died because they're the taggers that are being taken out by Posey. And it's surface level, and there's not much to his character except for occasionally showing another person out of his office. But it's Billy D. Williams. And
was she an orphan, or like...
No. Her parents were actually in this, like, not her real parents, but like her character's parents are actually shown in the story itself.
So what's her connection then with the church? She was hired to clean up the walls?
No, they had hired her to do a mural for the wall. So basically it's one of those things where the church wants her to beautify this wall, right? They want her to put flowers on here and hope-inducing imagery. And the first thing she does is she tags it with her name. So you have to wonder if the derelict is almost like a pseudo personality of Billy D. Williams, pastor, which would have been more interesting if we had come back to the derelict as played by Danny Trejo, and he morphs into the pastor, and then it becomes you can deal with the angel or the devil, but it's still the same person. But maybe that's going a little bit too further in and adding a little bit more to the budget. The second story in this is called The Scumlord, and it stars Anson Mount as Tex Jr., Brandy Roderick as Tiffany, Ernie Hudson as Roscoe Lee, Richard Gant as Jackson, Tucker Smallwood as Stevens, and Sydney Tamilia Poitier as Wanda. Now, if the last name Poitier, you're like, wait, did I hear that right? Yes. She is actually the daughter of legendary actor Sidney Poitier. And Carrie, you know her because she's also Jungle Julia in Death Proof.
Aha. That explains it. I'm like, she does look familiar.
Mm-hmm. Bring it to a Tarantino film for Carrie to recognize an actor. But your thoughts on this middle story? This is the meat of the sandwich.
I almost want to throw that back to you, but I can go into this. I'm ready. I'm ready. First of all, the actors did their part.
Very much so, yeah.
And played it very well.
Mm-hmm.
I was so angered by this middle part of the movie.
Do tell. Okay, let me get my popcorn.
I was disgusted by the fact that this, I can't even, the little rich boy comes in.
You can say redneck.
I fought not saying that.
I'm saying it.
I'm trying to be polite here and Canadian and
you gonna apologize along the way?
Yes. I'm sorry I'm about to rip into this. He was so disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And goddamn, did he do a great job? Because if that was the emotion that he, wanted to elicit from this this snippet, they did a great job. It pissed me off so much how he could go in and treat, war heroes the way he did and get away with it until he couldn't. But oh my God, I was so angry. He comes in, he takes their home and treats them badly and then has them all pretty much sleeping on the main level and takes then their money and rations and barely gives them any food. He refuses medical attention for a dying soldier. Ooh, it made me so angry. So mad.
Sorry, I'm just enjoying watching the steam coming from your head.
Right? It's literally like, whoo.
Yeah, you cute when you mad.
Yeah. Somebody put out the fire. Oh my God, I was so angry. 2 days after watching this movie, I am still angry by this.
So, dear Anson Mount, you have done your job and done your job well.
You've done it well.
But that's the thing, right? As I mentioned in the previous story, you have zero time for nuance in a short story. You literally have to play some of these characters in a way that is so blatant and obvious that for the most part, a lot of these characters are going to be one-dimensional because that's all you have time for. So Anson Mount playing and I do mean this in the terms that it's meant to be, the redneckiest redneck that ever rednecked. That's because you want him to be a horrible example of a human being. Every single bad trope, every single possible personality fault that you could give to Tex Jr., Anson Mount found it. And he made him believably an asshole. He gave him so many different reasons for you to hate this character. If Anson Mount was a professional WWE wrestler, he would get the most heat in every arena that they went to. That is a really good point to his acting, because we're talking about someone who plays Captain Pike on Star Trek Strange New Worlds. We're talking about Black Bolt from the Inhumans.
Oh, I'm not calling him the actor an asshole.
But that's what I'm saying. You have these more reserved, stoic kind of performances, although they get a little silly sometimes on Strange New Worlds, but you have these very composed performances. And then break out the Southern Comfort because things about to get all silly. But this is my favorite story out of the three.
Is it? It made me so angry.
I know, but there's a reason though.
Yeah.
Right? If story elicits response and reaction, story does good job. Right? Brandy Roderick as Tiffany got in the same lane. They drove in the same lane together in their Boss Hog mobile with the horns and everything. Exactly what you wanted them to do, right? Richard Gant and Tucker Smallwood, they did their jobs, but they're smaller roles. Ernie Hudson.
Oh, so fantastic. I'm actually so surprised that the character was written that he would be so accommodating until the breaking point.
No,
I guess that was the build that they needed.
But think about this, right? You have a character who holds in such high regard Tex Jr.'s father, their CEO, who passed away. And he's torn between the oath that he feels he owes to his former CEO, Tex Jr.'s father, who put him in this situation in order for his men to teach his kid honor and dignity, respect. So you got Roscoe coming in, and he's doing his best to honor his CO until it's go time. And I don't think you're going to find many actors that could pull this off with the panache that Ernie Hudson does. Like, freaking every time Ernie Hudson is on the screen, I cannot find a bad Ernie Hudson performance. You can't. Even in the worst of films, and from a critical standpoint, this might be one of them for him. He's still a gem. And Sydney Tamia Poitier, who played Wanda, who was there, not living, but basically home nurse that took care of them.
What I couldn't understand about the storyline, though, is if she was coming in to take care of them,
right,
she would have been in a position to get a doctor, to get medical help. I mean, I understand that healthcare might have been lacking for these veterans, but they are indeed war veterans.
They are, but I mean,
they should have medical benefits, should they not?
But to the same token as well, there is still, a cost to the American medical system, right? And no matter how much, I guess, the VA puts into it, there's still whatever the CO left for them, which is now being bled dry by Tex Jr.
Right.
Right. So they're not necessarily on a shoestring budget, but they're on a budget. It feels like they're on a budget that doesn't have much in the way of wiggle room. They live within their means. They don't go out and, live high on the hog kind of thing. They're just a couple of guys living out their days, living with their friends, just enjoying life.
Well, clearly, if they have to share
a house,
home, then
but they have a home to share.
Yeah,
that's the key thing, right? And they have a nurse who comes in and helps them out. Like, there is this level of, it's not high living, but it's not low living. It's living, and it's not bad for them because they've probably been in worse situations.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And they have each other and their friends, and they had their home until it was taken. And that makes me so mad.
This story to me, though, because again, we're talking about horror movies, right? This story to me has the best kill, and it's Tiffany with the caviar. Because, also death by caviar in this movie. I'm not going to say exactly how they do it, but oh my God, it's so gory and cool and fun. Like, and again, this is part of the fun of horror films, right? The creativeness behind how you dispose of the unlikable characters. They do it well in this one. I will also say, too, when it comes to the Snoop Dogg interstitial, the end of this story had the best Snoop Dogg interstitial, with Snoop Dogg coming in as the new landlord, but ain't no dogs allowed. And I'm just going to leave it at that because, I do think, dear listeners, if you like horror films, watch it. Watch it on a lark, right? You're not going to hate the film. You may not want to watch it again, but it's definitely worth a watch.
When your investors, customers, and workers demand more from your business, make it happen with SAP. The AI-powered capabilities of SAP can help you streamline costs, connect with new suppliers, and manage payroll, even when your business is being pulled in different directions. To deliver a quality product at a fair price while paying your people what they're worth too, so your business can stay unfazed. Learn more at sap.com/uncertainty.
Disney's Lilo & Stitch has finally landed on Disney+. Now you can watch the global phenomenon at home with your Ohana.
Be good for 1 second.
Lilo & Stitch is verified hot on Rotten Tomatoes with an audience score of 93%.
Perfect.
Stitch is also cute and fluffy.
Disney's Lilo & Stitch, rated PG, now streaming on Disney+. And right now, you can get Disney+, Hulu, and all of ESPN with an incredible limited-time offer. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by FXX and Hulu. An all-new season of Futurama is back, blending heartfelt moments with razor-sharp humor while accidentally saving the day. The Planet Express crew is back, defying gravity and common sense. From the creator of The Simpsons comes 10 new episodes where the romance is hotter, the threats are bigger, and the action hits harder. Don't miss the all-new season of Futurama. Watch it Mondays on FXX or stream it on Hulu.
We get to our last story, that is Rhapsody Askew. This is the one where you have the story of a rapper who is now coming to terms with everything that he has done to get to a point where he's at. Starring Pooch Hall as Sod, Aries Spears as Quan, Diamond Dallas Page as Jersey, Lynn Shay as Clara, and Jason Alexander as the, and I'm going to put the emphasis on this, British record mogul. Your thoughts on this story?
I found myself, at the end it started to tie itself together, but I'm like, what is happening here? What is going on? It does, who I liked was I almost want to call her like the Beetlejuice.
This is Clara.
Underworld.
This is played by Lynn Shay. So this is kind of the, for lack of a better term, this is the person who's, if fate or destiny or something like that has an ear kind of thing. If you make a deal with the devil, this is the person keeping the books on that deal.
Mm-hmm. I liked her.
She wasn't bad. Okay. You went off on the last story.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. Here we go. First things first. Dear Jason Alexander, you're not freaking British. Your record mogul didn't need a British accent. Did not. No. I understand that this is not technically a serious movie, but you put this into Tommy Wiseau territory.
You know who he reminded me of was Tom Cruise's role in Tropic Thunder.
No. Tom Cruise went above and beyond to create the most iconic, unlikable cameo in recent memory. This. What is the reason for making him British? There is zero rationale for making him British. Because, spoiler alert, Jason Alexander is not British. And he sucks at doing a British accent.
Are you okay?
I'm not okay because I'm not done with this yet.
Oh, boy.
I'm not done with this yet. It's not even a great story.
No, it's not.
It's not. And I'm sorry, Pooch Hall, you went way over the top in your portrayal of Sod. This is the rapper, right? Like it's a caricature. Think of every horrible trait of every egomaniacal musician that's ever put together and throw it in a blender and you have this representation. I didn't mind Ari Spears as Quan because he played it at least somewhat conflicted kind of thing. I even didn't mind Diamond Dallas Page, which allows me to forgive him for that Netflix series Guardians of Justice. Don't watch it. You're welcome. Lynch, I didn't mind. But yet, no, this is the weakest of the stories. Complete. And the whole reasoning. Okay. Spoilers like a mofo here. Here we go. So the whole crux of things is that Sod and Quan is this rapper DJ, and they meet each other by fate, and they start to make music together, and they start to get attention. And Sod is a Sod. He is a horrible human being. He is a right, sleeping with underage girls and doing all the drugs and wanting all the bling. He is the quintessential every story that you hear of someone who tries to get to the top and finds their way at the bottom real fast. Put it into here, right? And then you got Quan, who seems like a rational human being, right? And Quan's really not jiving with what Sod's doing, right? Quan is really also not up on him having sex with underage girls. Okay, cool. This is why Sod has him killed? That doesn't make Sod a better human being at all, right? You're like, great. You had your best friend killed because he doesn't like what you're doing, even though everything you're doing is horrible. I want you dead.
I thought it was more of a jealousy thing that they were both coming up at the same time and he wanted to rise to the top. Solo.
Sod wanted all the bling and the spoils of being famous, and Quan just wanted to make music.
He wanted a solo career, though, didn't he?
He should have had a solo career because Sod was right. But the problem is, and then of course he had Jersey to be the one to kill Quan, and now all of Sod's bad tidings and his is come around for his comeuppance, right? It's a weak storyline, and it's filled with, and again, this is personal opinion, right? Dear listeners, if you watch this film and you love this story, great. I'm happy for you. I didn't hate this one as much. I felt it was more of a morality tale than any morals than I saw. Every great in the horror anthology story is a morality tale. Most short stories are based in morality tales, and I don't mind that part of it. But even his, I'm going to go out in a blaze of glory. What are you doing? You suck at this. Like, of the three stories, like if you had to rank the three, right? Crossed Out, Scum Lord, and Rhapsody Askew, how would you rank them?
I knew you were going to ask me this.
Mm-hmm.
Least favorite is the second, the Scum Lord.
Really?
Least favorite. And then I would go with the rap duel.
You would put this in the middle?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first one would be Posey and...
See, Rhapsody Askew for me is, if you haven't figured it out by now, it's my least favorite of the stories. I've got Crossed Out in the middle, and I've got the Scum Lord at the top.
Wow. Why?
Because it did exactly what you wanted it to do, right? You created a character that but so cartoonishly bad. And that's the other thing too. You could sit there and take a look at Anson Mount's character in that story. And you could point to, oh, he's making fun of Southerners. Oh, he's making fun of this. Oh, he's making fun of... You know what? He's a freaking cartoon character. He is so outlandish that there is no way in heck that anyone could sit there and look at that character and go, oh yeah, I know that guy. He lives down the street from me. No, he does not.
No, the amount of racial
Yeah, because again, you have a limited amount of time.
Quotes that he was saying, the things he was saying just didn't sit well with me at all.
Oh, maybe from a script perspective, you could have found better things to say, but you want to make this guy unlikable and fast.
And they did a great job at that. Fantastic job.
But if that's the aim of
hateable.
If that's the aim of the writer, then they did their job.
They did.
Right?
And as well, the actor, he played his part well.
Yeah. I think by going so over the top and cartoonish in his portrayal of like making this not just a bad character, but the worst human being that's ever been written, there's something that it actually, I feel, takes the sting out of a lot of what he's saying, right? Because he's so wrong that everything he says is going to be wrong, which basically, if you're watching this from like, okay, who am I going to listen to? Don't listen to this guy. Everything he says is completely wrong. And that allows him to say all those things and be worse. Because when the comeuppance does come up, it makes it more satisfying. The interesting thing about this film is that it dives into that horror anthology, something that's been done, again, we mentioned before, with things like Tales from the Crypt and the Creepshow. I like the idea of for lack of a better term, urban-themed horror anthology. And I even don't mind the fact that it's Snoop Dogg. I mean, you take a look at, Elvira's hosted these kind of things on TV networks for years and years and years, right? Alfred Hitchcock, right? Hosted the Alfred Hitchcock Presents series. And while the movie may not have done well, I don't think these kind of stories and this kind of production should have been done as a movie. So I'm going to ask you now. Obviously, Shudder is a horror streaming service that does exist. Is this the kind of property where you could see it being revisited by a streaming service like a Shudder?
It almost kind of felt like it was a pilot for a potential series that just never took. Or, again, I didn't hate it as a movie. You've got 3, arguably maybe 4, short tales, short stories, and tied together with that one theme, that one character that Snoop Dogg played. And I like what they did with it, but I'm still so taken aback by the slumlord that I'm like, I can't see myself watching it again as a movie.
Well, I mean, the nice thing too with something like that is that you're only going to get that character once, right? Because they get their comeuppance. But the other thing too, and maybe this is just me kind of looking at this property and saying, well, how would this work as a series? And one of the cool potentials that they have here, like the interstitials with Snoop they were kind of weak sauce for the most part. Like the opening animation is fantastic. It is amazing. And you introduce Snoop as the narrator, the host of this kind of thing, because he's the guy who made the bargain to find the souls like him, right? That's his penance, is to find others like him that are willing to sell their souls or souls that need to be taken. So it's almost like there's a quota that Snoop Dogg's character needs to find. So if you take a look at a potential Hood of Horror TV series, but the basis is each of these souls is another one that your narrator's character has to acquire to meet his zone quota, then you actually have the narrator's story overlapping the entire series, while each episode in the series, it's still its own entity.
I love that idea. It's kind of like the idea of like cleaning up the streets.
Yeah. Cleaning up the streets somewhat lethally.
Or moral of the story is be a good person.
Well, there is that, and some amount. But there's the thing, right? I think this property can work better as a series on a streaming service? Because it's not like these stories take much to make, right? This film didn't have that big a budget. And I recognize that it came out in 2007, but $5 million for a movie with 3 stories is not that bad. You do a 10 season or a 10 episode season, Snoop Dogg still is your host. People are going to watch, right? Even the casual viewer is going to go, wait, Snoop Dogg's doing a horror series? What's going on here? And they'll watch.
That's the thing. People will watch maybe a few episodes and either they're going to love it or they're going to be like, okay, I had to see this.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that I don't think box office needs to be or should be looked at as a measure of failure or success, right? I don't think it was promoted. I don't think it was widely advertised.
They also put it out in May. And
on the same weekend as Spider-Man 3.
I mean, this property would have been, at least would have made sense in October.
It's a small production company. It's, probably small distribution as well. The medium is there, right? 2007, we don't have streaming services. Netflix is still shipping DVDs in the mail, right? We're still going to Blockbuster Video. Now you get streaming services and there's money there. I wouldn't hate to see Hood of Horror be revisited by a streamer as a series. Maybe make it an annual, comes out in October kind of thing. Why not? Do 4 episodes in a season? Black Mirror length? I think you could have some fun with it. And I think you still, by all means, should have Snoop D-O to the double G involved because that's just money. That's just money. All right. So we've come to the end of not just this movie, but Spooktember. So I have a couple questions before we get to our MVP. All right. First, the 4 movies that we have covered in Spooktember: Rockula, Vamps, Suck, and Hood of Horror. Rank them.
I knew this question was coming. I'm ready.
All right.
Suck is my absolute favorite. That was such an incredible find, and it's not even like it wasn't on our radar. It sat on our whiteboard for like 2 years, and we finally got to watch it, and I am so, so, so happy that we did.
All right.
I love that movie. Always going to come back to it. And then I know you're going to disagree, but this is my pick. I'm going to go with Rockula.
I'm not surprised.
And then Vamps. And they're kind of a 50-50. Like, I didn't necessarily love one more than the other.
They are 2 very different movies.
They're very different, but both were very fun. And then we've got Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror.
All right.
Hood of Horror?
Hood of Horror.
Hood of Horror.
All right. I'm actually putting, I think, Vamps at number 1. I'm putting Suck at number 2. It's close, though. Those 2 are close. I'm putting Hood of Horror at number 3.
Wow.
And I am burying the crap out of Rockula. I'm sorry.
I would watch it again.
I know it's your number 2. And I would probably still watch it again, too. But this is one of those things where, and I've said this before, right? If you walk out of a musical and you're not singing the songs, the musical failed. And I wasn't singing any of this. None of those songs stuck in my brain. But that's just me. All right. So for the last time in Spooktember, who is your MVP of Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror?
I've got to give it to the Slumdog himself.
The Scum Lord, Anson Mount.
Scum Lord, yes. You know what? He did such a fantastic job at making me hate the character so damn much So I have to give props to that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. For my pick, I'm going to the same story. It's Ernie Hudson.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I am a card-carrying member of the Ernie Hudson fan club, if ever there was an Ernie Hudson fan club.
Is there? Because that'd be cool.
Sign me up.
It would have to have a Ghostbusters logo on it, though.
No. It would have Ernie Hudson's badge number from when he was the cop in The Crow.
Ooh.
Because, yeah.
Good point.
Right? Again, even in the worst films, Ernie Hudson is the best thing. But I do want to give a shout out to Madhouse Studios, because that animation style was fantastic and gave me such high hopes for the film. I do think that this film is way better than what the critics say. Way better. This is not a 13% film. 13% film means I'm considering therapy after the movie, right? Anything under 10, and yeah, I'm in therapy. But 13%, don't come at this film expecting the Twilight Show or Alfred Hitchcock. It's its own entity. And while there are faults to this film, I still think it's greater than the sum of its parts and deserves to be revisited by a streaming service as a series instead of a movie. Carrie, thank you so much for this. And to you, our dear listeners, are you prepared? Because starting next week, it is Mocktober. And during October, we have a special Monday drop. Episode 200. I cannot believe we're here. And to listeners from all the way back at day one, thank you so much for getting us to this point. But until we get there, you know the drill. If there is a movie out there that you think is unfairly maligned or is so bad that there is no way in the hood that we can find anything good to say about it, hit us up on social media at NotThatBadCast or go to our website at NotThatBadCast.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the website so when we put a new post up, you get notified immediately. Until next time, she's Carrie, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is It's Not That Bad, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.
This is Mark Shea from the Performance Anxiety Podcast on the Pantheon Podcast Network. We've teamed up with Teen Cancer America, the charity founded by Sir Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend of The Who, to bring you the most anticipated tribute album of the past 41 years. The Majesty of Rock is 35 of the best Spinal Tap cover songs you'll ever hear. You'll hear Spinal Tap songs done by Robert Hitchcock, Alan Johannes, members of Tool, Foo Fighters, Caius, Failure, Soul Asylum, and so many more. And every dollar raised goes to help teens and young adults diagnosed with cancer. This is a limited edition of 5,000 downloads, so go to teencanceramerica.org, check out the store, buy the album, and give teens and young adults the help they need.